Alright guys, so today we're working on a Silverado short bed. It's a 4.3, not a V8. It's a shame, but short bed. And customer complained, making noise and not braking much. If you can see that, but there is no pad whatsoever. Nothing, nada. So yep, and we also gonna be doing new tie rods and a new steering rack, new rotors. And this is why. With the wheels a little bit easier, but let's see. Let's see that. Eventually, we're gonna have to get new control arms as well. Just because these ones are bad. I don't know if you can pick that up. Those bushings are done. For now, yeah, steering rack, rotors, pads, that one caught up on that one side. And the best part, I had to hammer the studs out because the customer don't have the key for it. So luckily with this 18 hammered in, they made the perfect but the perfect size, so they will come out. So yeah, so let me get to it. I'm gonna start doing the rotors and the pads first, and then I'm gonna leave the steering rack for last. But already, let's get to it. Alright guys, so I already have the new rotor on, but I'm gonna show you guys how to remove it. So like always, I'll tell you guys how to pry the pad. So if you look at the caliper, when it's sitting like this, you're gonna see the pad in here, the rotor, and the other pad. You're gonna stick your pry bar, and you're gonna start prying away. Okay, that way you push in the caliper all the way in, and you don't have to mess around with it once it's all the way out when it's loose and all that stuff. So you just work your way in, press until you get all the caliper movement all the way back. Then it's gonna have 2 bolts on the back of it. Okay, it's gonna be these 2 guys here. It's gonna go like that, and the other one over there. So you're gonna loose those up, and if I'm not mistaken, those are 19. Okay, those are gonna be 2 19s, and then you got your pads. Okay, so you're gonna remove the pads. Obviously this one's gonna be the caliper side, this one's where I'm ready to go. You're gonna remove the pads from the bracket, which it sits like this. Okay, and it has 2 bolts. If you can see those holes right there, they line up. Okay, you're gonna take those so you can remove the bracket, and those are gonna be these guys here. Now these ones are, let's see, I think they're 18. Yep, they're 18. So you're gonna take those out, and then the bracket's gonna come out. Then you want to take these things out, these little pins. You want to clean that up, clean the hole in the inside, put new grease on it, so they don't freeze up. Okay, you're gonna do that on both sides. I haven't done that yet, but you gotta put your new hardware. You're gonna put your bracket in, you're gonna put your pads, and then you're gonna install the caliper again. So let me get that done, and then I'll show you guys. Alright, let me clean the bracket, put the new hardware in, and bolt it down. Alright, be right back. Alright guys, so let me show you what we got. We got the rotor already in place. We put some Loctite, some what do you call this thing? Anti-seize. Jesus, I forgot. Alright, so we got that. We cleaned this. We put new grease on it. Top, bottom, grease top. We tied down the bolts on the back. Top, bottom. We got new hardware, the new pads. Everything is in place. So let's see, the pistons are already all the way in. So all we gotta do now is just drop it in place, screw it in, and this side is done, so I can move to the other side. Still not gonna put the wheel on this because we're gonna be doing the steering rack as well. So the rack and pinion. So I'm just gonna put the caliper back on, and I'm gonna jump to the other side, which is the side that gave out. So let me get to it, and let me show you guys how to do the other side. Alright guys, so this is the side that is bad. It's obvious, something missing right there. So we're gonna do the same process. I'm gonna squeeze that a little bit if it allows us to, because sometimes, most of the time, when this kind of stuff happens, the piston pops out completely, and it's really hard to get it back in. So most likely this is what happened here, and we're gonna be replacing the caliper. And you know, while we're at it, we're gonna be replacing the hose, just to make sure that this one is not clogged or anything. And we're gonna be putting that in, put a new rotor. So first thing first, then we're loosening these up a little bit. The one bolt here and the one on the bottom. Then we got to take the bracket, this bolt here and the one on the bottom. And then we got to take the stud. See, that's frozen. We got to take this off so we can take the rotor out. Alright, so let me get to it. Alright guys, so we got the rotor in place, the pads, the bracket, the hardware, the new caliper. I hooked up the hose. So all I gotta do is just loosen up from the chassis, so I can take that off one piece, and hook it up, and then we gotta do the bleeding process. So yeah, always double check your work. How you tie down the bolts, make sure that everything is in place. Loosen up this so you can start getting some of the air out of the system. And then let me break that loose. Let's see what number that is. Looks like a 13. So let me break that loose and then install the new hose. Alrighty, be right back. Alright guys, so we got the caliper, all that's situated, the rotor's in place, the hose is already in place. So the only thing I gotta do is bleed out the system. Now I gotta start doing the steering rack. I got the new belt. I'm gonna replace that pulley as well. Put the new belt in. Put that pulley. And I gotta start doing the steering rack. hopefully it won't become my pain in the neck. See, there's only 2 bolts and the one right there to line it up. So I'm hoping it won't be too bad. Alright, so let me get that done. I'll show you guys here in a second. Alright guys, so 2010 Chevy Silverado single cab 4.3 serpentine belt replacement and idle pulley. I already did the job, but obviously I'm going to show you. So you got your breaker bar. You're going to loosen up the tension on the tensioner. Once you do that, it's going to be easier if you put the tensioner and remove it out of here from the bottom, because this one is slippery. So you take it from the bottom. Always what I recommend is, so you're not going back and forth, and especially if the car doesn't have the diagram, just take a picture of it. That way you know your diagram. Then you put your tensioner, remove your pulley, your tension. You slide the belt right from here. You take the belt out. You remove the bolt. I think it's like a 15. Let me see. Yeah, that's the number 15. Put the new idle pulley there, and then you reroute the belt back on again. So this one's 2010 with the 4.3 V6. You route the belt back on. You put it all the way around except this one, because it's going to be easier for you to slide it in. So you got your tool, and then you're going to slide it in place, and that's how you get that done. It's very simple, straightforward. The old belt was really cracked up, and the actual tensioner was like more over here because of the stretch on the belt. So now it's a little bit tighter. So yeah, that's how you get that done. Alright guys, so how to do the steering rack. You get the pin and the bolt out from here. You're gonna have to hammer in here, that way you can take that out. You're gonna do that process on the other side as well. I'll show you guys. So you do the same thing here. Take that pin and nut, and you're gonna hammer here so you can remove this. And then the next stuff that you gotta remove is going to be steering itself from right there. So I believe that's a 11 mil, if I'm not mistaken, bolt. And then you're gonna have to hammer a little bit to get it out of place. You want to make sure that you don't twist the steering as much, and you try to keep it as straight as possible. That way when you put the new steering rack on, you can line it up, and you don't want to break the clock on the steering wheel itself. And then after that, we gotta remove these lines over here. So we're gonna be making a little mess. And we got 4 bolts. We got these 2 right here. We got 1 up here, and there's 1 inside the frame. Okay, you're gonna see it has a hole on it, so that you can put your socket in there. So next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen up these guys right here, so that I could get that loosened up. I'm gonna try to put a pan or something on the bottom so I can catch that fluid going down. And yeah, and then you just gotta slide it out, put the new one in, and start putting them back together and with the new rings on. So let me remove that clip right there, and we'll start changing this thing out. See right there, it's probably gonna be another 10 mil or something like that. We'll find out. So we gotta remove that, and then the bolts, and then it should be able to slide out. Alright guys, so once you put the steering rack, you can see this is the rack. That's the bolts there. There's 2 bolts right there, and then you line. Make sure that you put the seals. It's gonna come with the steering rack that you gotta push in, and so it will make a perfect seal. that, and then you gotta try to align it as best as you can, but you still gotta get an alignment afterwards. We went and replaced the tensioner. The tensioner was a little bit weak, so replace that one as well. So yeah, truck still needs an alignment, but other than that, good to go. Alright guys, like always, share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.